Hi, so this is the recording for the third session in the Fractured Heart of Stathmore 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons sessions. Um, Joining this session we had the Halfling Ranger, the Halfling Sorcerer, the Human Witch Hunter, and the Android Bard as explained previous. Picked up where we last left off. I had confirmed that the one of the players did in fact fall asleep on us late evening. So regardless of that, so picking up where we last left off, the players were investigating two lost boys belonging to the Yater family. So they're at the house and they decided to investigate the tracks appearances outside, because there's two sets of tracks that kind of trail off from where they are. One heading to the north, one's heading to the west. But before they actually head out, they do a persuasion check on the mother and father to try and get them to cooperate, see if they know anything else that could be helpful to the investigation. So they do, and a nat 20 has the mother, who has not said anything prior, running and crying to the bard, basically saying, "Please help me. He's going to hurt me," implying abuse from her husband, Graham Yater. So they take Sarah to the sheriff, Sheriff Stewhart, while also deciding to follow the tracks to the north. So they go to Stewhart, and since they had made the decision to go to the north, the sheriff grabs some guards and decides to follow the tracks west. So we got the party going north and the sheriff going west. So they further investigate the tracks to the north, and it appears as though there's one set of uniform tracks, actually like a true stride. The other one seems like a little limping motion, and they do in fact confirm that the tracks disappear before the forest does. Before the forest appears, because they end in a field, right? Kind of like a U-shaped field right before a forest. And they also notice that the tracks change into a before completely disappearing, change in some kind of bird form. Didn't quite, they weren't quite sure how. Maybe magical means is what the sorcerer, of course, was thinking. Not of course, but you go with me. So they decide to visit the neighbor, Ogrel Sawbone. Knock on the door. Not home. Excuse me. So they ask that guy's neighbor across the way. They're like, okay, well, you know where this guy is, and tells them that he might be at the tap. So they go to the Taverly Tavern, very familiar scene. This is where they met Lenny. So they go inside, and the place is completely crowded. So Linton, the sorcerer, goes to the bar to find out where Ogrel was last seen. And they eventually find him. He's in the bar. He's not really hiding. He's just kind of there. So he spills the beans. He says that he saw the two sets of two going north and west, but he'd kind of been in a drinking stupor, so he's not quite sure of his own wording. But he had seen the boys attend to this strange trick shop, just outside of town, actually near Yanox. So they go to Dr. Price's trick shop, Dr. Price, when asked about it, he was like, "Well, I've seen many young girls and boys. I'm not quite sure about these Yater children," and kept it pretty under tongue. And then the players brought up the fact that they knew about the abuse, and he actually tried to cover them running away, and the insight check told he was in good intention. So he told the boys, and he's relaying this to the party, that he said he was concerned about them. So the boys came in one day with this a list of stuff that they were looking for, and they came into the tent to buy just little trick stuff. some smoke packets, not cigarettes, you know, push smoke, and you know, he just gave it to him for free. But you know, he realized maybe that's where the boys were. He just realized that maybe the boys were using that to cover their escape. So he gives them their receipt before he tells them to go to Hector Herold, excuse me. So they meet with Hector Herold in the Southwest Fields. He's just kind of having some archery practice, and he kind of leads them on the right path after he ascerns that they are in good intention. Because the players are good and well ready to find these boys even more now that they realize that they ran away because of their father, or at least that's what they can discern. So he helps them in the right path, and they eventually find the area in the woods where the boys are. Where the boys were, and told them that they had a sling with them because he had trained them. He was also concerned. So they travel through various campsites and traps. Now with the new inside joke that the Halfling Ranger's arch nemesis is Rox, because he was attacked by Rox in the sawmill, and he got attacked by a falling rock chop in the forest. So they find the boys hidden underneath a very clever mirror illusion, and so they coax them out of the hole and were like, we're taking you back home. We're gonna protect you from your father. So they take the boys back to town, and kind of interesting scene. Grommen Yeager is lying dead on the ground. There's a large amount of people standing around. Seraphina, who's Wendell, the ranger's sister. Just a whole bunch of people. So sort of one mystery leads to another. And the party, was noticing this, seeing all these people. So the bard kind of convinces the rest of the party, like, case closed, we're done here. That's all we need. Because they had learned from Stuhart soon after arriving at the scene that Grommen had gone into a fit of rage and was trying to get back to his wife, and someone might have been a guard. It was kind of a mix-up of scene. Shot him because he was being very hostile. So they all, Lenny and the party go back to the bar. He pays them, small amount, 50 gold each, because there wasn't really a bounty on it. But Lenny's kind of in cahoots with Yannock, so he threw in a little bit to the pot. Yannock threw in a little bit because it was a good deed. It was a good deed that they did. So they go back to the bar, and kind of ends with Lenny and Wendell doing a two-person poker tournament. Apparently they're the only two that I can, or Wendell's the only one I can coax into playing poker. And Wendell did good. He beat the self-proclaimed Ace of Spades. Yes, as a reference to Motorhead's Ace of Spades. And it was a good session. Quite fun. Lasted about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I think. But good session, good job, players. And we'll pick up next week. My brother has been co-GMing with me, and he's going to be picking up next week. So I'll be reporting on things as they appear. Take care.